What's up, YouTube? Angry Jackalope here, Rob Ricks. And it is cold as a motherfucker. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see the fucking frost coming out of my breath. It's colder than a witch's tit. Anyway, you guys might have noticed I'm a couple videos behind. You guys haven't seen any videos lately, and I am so behind on a lot of things. Usually by now, you know, we're fucking sitting December 15th. I don't even have my Christmas tree out. I usually have my Christmas tree here. I have some cool ornaments. I've got this little predator ornament I was going to put on there. It may or may not make it into Christmas. I don't know. So I got a little story time here for you about what just happened to me and one of the reasons that I am a bit late on getting some new videos out to you guys. So, what was it? Sunday morning, a few days ago, a couple of days ago. We're sitting at Tuesday right now. So a couple of days ago, I was woke up by all of my smoke detectors going off. Scared the shit out of us because we usually have one smoke detector that kind of goes off when we're cooking and some smoke comes up, you know. It goes off and whatever. But this was the first time that all 5 of the units in the house all went off. And you know, I made a bunch of mistakes. I didn't do things the way I should have. There was a huge delay getting everybody dressed outside the house, troubleshooting, and you know, I wasn't very happy with the way that went down. And I called, you know, I shut the power off at the house, did the things that you're supposed to do when you think there may be a fire. There was no smoke. There was nothing. We knew in our heart that it was a false alarm, but what scared us was we didn't know if we had smoke detector slash CO2 detector, right? Carbon monoxide. Didn't know if we had those type of units. So I didn't want to risk walking in saying, oh, I can't smell anything. You know, fucking die, right? So we called non-emergency fire department. They sent out a truck. Truck came in. 3 guys went into the house. They came out 2 minutes later, waved us in. We all went back inside the house, and they took a smoke detector and showed us that it had a bunch of dust in it. And I was like, oh, shit, I didn't know that would be a problem. And they're like, yeah, there's basically a beam that comes through and hits like a mirror or something. And when something obstructs that beam, like smoke or dust or spiders or bugs or whatever, it can set them off. And we had ones that were all wired together, so when one went off, it triggered the rest of them. And so we were like, okay, that's interesting. And he said the other thing was, my house was built in the 80s, and these smoke detectors were installed at that time. So I have smoke detectors in the house that are decades old. And he said, you need to replace those on a regular basis, batteries, etc., etc. I said, okay. So I went out, bought some new smoke detectors, bought a CO2 detector because we did not have one. It was all the ones that were in the house were just plain old smoke detectors. So we got some CO2 detectors, and then you know I just proceeded to use today to do a bunch of honeydews around the house. So I fixed the shower, took that all apart, fixed the knob. That was great. I was like, yes, that's a win for me. The bed had a split where the headboard was at, and it's not from me rocking the bed, okay? Or maybe it was. Fuck, I don't know at this point. Anyway, I had to fix it, and I came up with a MacGyver thing. I had a bunch of cinder blocks laying around for me shattering cinder blocks, and so I slid it underneath where it needed to go, and it held everything at the perfect angle, and then, you know, using paracord, I lashed everything, so now everything is rock solid. It's fucking awesome. So I was like, yes, win number 2. And then I decided, you know what, I'll install these smoke detectors. Well, one of the smoke detectors I wanted to install was up really high on the roof, on the inner part of the roof, not on top of the roof, but inside the house at the peak. So right here, where you actually have a peak inside the house, maybe about 11 to 15 feet up, somewhere around there. That's where it was at. So me, like a dumbass, I go grab the ladder, and ladder is rated to handle 300 pounds. I currently am sitting at 342 pounds, somewhere around there. which I thought, you know what, there's a lot of times they say has a weight limit, but there's usually a threshold beyond that. And I figured I wasn't going to go up and jump around or anything. So I climbed my happy ass up the ladder and got to the second to the last rung and couldn't quite reach where I needed to. So I got on the very tippity top of the ladder, which is always a bad fucking idea in of itself. And I reached up and I got it and I get it all installed. And I'm like, yeah. And then I go to take a step down to the next one and here, and I'm like, and then fucking the ladder just flattens like this because it's one of these ladders that's adjustable. You can lock it in place so it's a big tall ladder like that, or you can fold it in different angles. And so I had it at like the TP angle, triangle angle, and I was here at the top, and that fucker just flattened. And of course, as it's flattened, I fall right down on top of it. I take this arm, boom, land right on top of one of the steps, smash my chest into it. There's a picture of that lovely nastiness there, how it looks right now. And my knees, boom, hit. And I guess it made a loud, booming noise. Everybody in the house comes running. I'm down there screaming, fuck, this fucking hurts, and I'm just in pain. And I'm sitting there, and I just knew I had shattered some shit, and I know I have a cracked rib over here because I don't know if you've ever been in a fight and had somebody check you and you get a rib crack. Whenever you take a deep breath, there's a very distinct kind of a sharp pain that you get, a little twinge. I just don't breathe very deeply right now. There's nothing you can do for a cracked rib anyway. It's not like it broke and stabbing a lung or anything else. So anyway, that kind of took the wind out of me because after I was done with all that stuff, I laid there for a while. Wife came with some ice packs, checked me out, said, I want to go to ER. I said, no, I'm good. I'm pretty sure I don't have any breaks that they need to fix. So we'll save the money. And so I waited a little bit. I felt a little bit better. I finished installing the rest of the units, and I was like, yes, all my objectives were done. But one of the things that I had planned to do after all that shit was finished was come out and shoot some videos. So I felt like warmed up dog shit, and so I did not get a chance to shoot any of the videos that I wanted to, but it did present itself with a very fun, in retrospect, story time for you guys. So, lessons learned. First lessons was all of the smoke detectors and things of that nature. You need to keep those fuckers clean on a regular basis. And lesson number 2, if you're going to fuck around on a ladder, have somebody there with you. I realized it was the best way for me to fall. I think my guardian angel worked overtime. Had to have been, because there's no way I could have, I fell from a good 12 feet up. If you look at where the ladder was at, ladder extended up about almost 7 feet. I'm up on top of there at the top. So, I'm reaching up, and then I'm coming back down, and then everything just goes straight down. So 340 pounds, 44-year-old man, not in the best of shape. I had consumed mass quantities of soda with phosphoric acid, which leaches calcium from your bones. So, I'm surprised I didn't have just a shattered, funky fucking mess on the ground. So, anyway, if you're going to get up on a ladder, make sure you have a buddy there. Falling straight down was probably the best thing for me. Although falling atop of the ladder sucked ass, I realized after the fact that if I had jumped back, I would have landed on a marble table. If I would have jumped to the side, I would have slammed my head on a ceiling down to the next area and would have fell down some stairs that way. If I would have jumped to this way, I would have slammed into a center wall and wrapped myself around that shit in a fridge. So, it really was the perfect of a bad situation. And that is that. I'm not going to take my big ass up a fucking ladder again anytime soon. I tell you that. That shit fucking hurt. I got my ass kicked by a ladder. So maybe that's what I'm going to title this one. Angry Jackalope gets ass kicked by ladder. Anyway, that's it for this story time. If you like it, please subscribe. Tell all your fucking friends. Until next time, please be good to each other and be careful. Be safe. All right.